Hello, dear ones. I am Sister Friend Marie McConnell, and I'm here interviewing Margaret Bryant Energy Oracle, and she has some exciting, more than exciting, educationally thrilling information to share with us about her upcoming event. And I'll let her go into detail about that in a minute. But first, I want to ask Margaret a few questions. Margaret, you moved to Egypt some years ago, and you're a dual citizenship. Actually, you're still in America, but you live in Egypt a lot of the time, and you know Egypt. And I wanted to know, this is so curious to me, how did you find your life in Egypt?
Well, you ever get the calling or the nudge about Egypt, or the little idea or the feeling? Well, the divine God sent me that, and I was like, nope, I don't need to go. I can do anything I need to do from here.
Mhm.
Um, get your passport. I procrastinated. Finally, I went. Um, God really wanted me there. The energy of Egypt, of course, is magical and mystical and spiritual and very high vibration and all of that. But also, you have that it is on the continent of Africa where
Mm.
everything began. And part of my job is to work with people and all of humanity to bring in and anchor the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and to get that energy out into the world. So we have to go back to the place where the divine masculine left, and so that we can anchor back in. So it left during Atlantis, and it's now anchored in Egypt, the higher dimensional frequency, divine masculine energy. So in order to do that for ourselves, so that we can move through this ascension process, we can heal so quickly, we can expand on our own intuitive abilities. In Egypt, past life memories can happen, and just all these wonderful things. And the people of Egypt are amazing.
Mm.
They really are. They are so kind and very helpful, accommodating, and generous, and so interested to hear about where we're from, and very happy that we come there. And um, they know when you're coming home, when you're coming back to a place that you've been before, because they'll greet you, welcome home. And it's not everybody that greets you that way.
Mhm.
It's the ones that are tuned in and can tell, and they know. So that's my story about Egypt. Um, it's just magical, and I've been guided to create this retreat. Um, it's a 10-day retreat, and we will be going to a lot of the sacred sites. We'll begin in Cairo at the Pyramids of Giza. We will go to the Sphinx is there as well. We will go to the Coptic church and the Hanging Church, where Mother Mary and Jesus and Moses spent time. Uh, we will go to the Hathor temple. The goddess Hathor is a wonderful, beautiful being that brings in healing and uses sound. Um, we will go to a little known Isis temple in Luxor, not very well known. The energy of Isis is phenomenal there. We will go to the big, very well known temple of Isis. We will go to the Osiris temple, where the tree of life is laser etched in the markings in the wall there in the stone, and they don't know how that happened that many thousands of years ago. We'll do a hot air balloon ride, sunrise in Luxor, a short Nile cruise. Oh, what else was in store? Karnak, huge temple complex. Actually, I believe it's the biggest temple complex in Egypt. And we will see Sekmet and the Luxor Temple, the Valley of the Kings and Queens, because two separate valleys. Hatshepsut, she was the queen that dressed as a king so that she could rule. And so we're going to go to all these wonderful places. There's all of these activations that happen there. It will be different for everybody. It will be where you are on your own path. And when I say activations, things that awaken inside of you, you may receive information, you may receive healing energy. So it's more than just a tour. There will be meditations that I will lead or will just do quietly. There will be, I'm a teacher, a healer, facilitator, so I will be there to help anyone through whatever they're going through if they need assistance. For I can see, feel, and hear everything, so can help with that as well. So that's the kind of retreat in a short form. Um, what would you like to know, Sister Friend Marie?
I like to know a lot of things. I've always wanted to go to Egypt. My brother went and had a great time. And as you said, he was greeted by many of the Egyptian people. The men would say, "Welcome home, brother." And,
Mm,
and as you're saying that, welcome home goes past this lifetime into genetic
yes,
and soul lifetimes. And he felt
yes.
very much at home there, and they treated him
Yes.
very well. Um, I was thinking, when you first visited the ancient sites and the pyramids, what excited you most about those visits? What came through to you? Said, I got to share this. It's amazing.
The energy of those places, um, in some instances, brought me to my knees. And like the first time I was on the Nile, we were on a short little Nile River cruise on one of the ferries, and it was um, sunset. And as soon as we got away from the dock and started down, and you can see the farms and you can see columns and everything. There's temple pieces, remnants everywhere, but the farms and the farmers out there working and all of that. As soon as I saw that, I started seeing boats beside me and the men in them rowing. And then I was on a very large boat sitting at the helm as some form of royalty, a queen, I'm not sure. But I knew that I was of some form of royalty. Um, I have a very deep connection with Isis. The first time I went to the very small Isis temple on the west bank of Luxor, um, I left my body. I cried. I shook. And many things have happened since then, just from that, what some might call an activation.
Mhm.
So, it is just what happens is almost beyond words. Like there's not words for it. It's the feeling that comes over. And if you receive information, um, you can step into one of the temples and uh, the energy. When I went in to see Sekhmet in the private chamber in Karnak, when I went in there, the energy was so intense for me that I had to run out because I was afraid that the guards might think something was really wrong with me or whatever, because I was like shaking and like, oh my, like this. And I was very nervous. So I went out and I said, "Oh boy, I don't know." So I haven't gone back in there for a while. Actually, the retreat will be my next trip in there. So, because I know I need to go back, um, where I can then spend some more time, because whatever happened in there with her and the energy, it also activated something within me, and she's come to work with me quite a bit since then. So I know that going back, it won't be so as intense for me,
Mhm.
and then I'll be able to do whatever it is I need to do there, but also to be there for everyone else. Because first and foremost, I am that teacher and facilitator and helping people to understand their experience to the best of my ability, and whatever's happening, and get answers. Because if I don't have the answers, I know how to get them. So
That's very cool. Oh, Margaret, why would you want to allow everyone to go with you on this tour of this ancient and magical land? I mean, in your heart, why would you want everyone to experience this if they felt a calling for it, or even on a dream said, "Oh, I dreamt of going to Egypt," even if it was frivolous or very passionate and deep? Why would you want someone to go?
your soul is speaking to you. The divine is speaking to you. There's a calling because there's something that is going to happen there for you, whether it's a remembrance, an activation, information that comes, something will happen. Um, it is your soul's knowing that you're supposed to go as well. Uh, I fought it. I was like, I don't need to go to Egypt. I can meditate and go to the pyramids from here. I can do those things. And um, not the case. I can do that, but I needed to be on the ground.
Ah,
I needed to be on the sacred ground in the different temples to do the things that I do for helping humanity and the planet, but also for myself, to help anchor in certain energies, to help me advance in my abilities, to help me see, understand more about past lives, to know what I need to do that I can help other people with. Um, so much more than if I had just gone to the pyramids and meditation, which I had done numerous times. It's much different being on the land, just walking on the land.
mhm,
And I was like, why is this whole place so high vibration, even when you're not at sacred sites? Well, because it's desert, you're walking on sand. Sand is microscopic crystals.
mhm,
So you're walking on crystals, and it's old, it's ancient. It's where all of this began after the fall of Atlantis. If you know of Atlantis or Lemuria, help me advance in my abilities, to help me see, understand more about past lives, to know what I need to do that I can help other people with. Um, so much more than if I had just gone to the pyramids and meditation, which I had done numerous times. It's much different being on the land, just walking on the land.
mhm.
And I was like, why is this whole place so high vibration, even when you're not at sacred sites? Well, because it's desert, you're walking on sand. Sand is microscopic crystals.
Mhm.
So you're walking on crystals, and it's old, it's ancient. It's where all of this began after the fall of Atlantis. If you know of Atlantis or Lemuria and all of that, that's where it all began after that fall.
Also, one- Yes, that's
So
amazing.
that it is amazing, and the energy is something else. And I've had an affiliation connection with goddess Isis for years, probably 15, 16 years. And also when I was younger with King Tut. very interested in King Tut.
Mhm.
Actually saw the King Tut exhibit in Chicago when I was a child. So it's always been there. Uh, just was like, I never had any desire to leave the country, to leave the US. And so I didn't even have a passport. So I got the passport. I went and I haven't looked back.
When you say touch the ground, I've often heard travelers, journeyers say when they get back to old land like Africa, Egypt, even in the South America, certain sites, there's a trigger in them, and maybe you can speak to this. You've already spoken on it a bit. There's a trigger in them that does say, I'm home. And almost all of them that I know fall to the ground on their knees and they start crying. And they have no idea but why. But just the resonance and the feeling of the earth under their feet speaks to them.
Yes, it does. Uh, Another time I went, I was called to go to the south of France to the Grotto of Mary Magdalene. And when I was walking up the 150 stairs of La Saint Baume, we were walking up the path, the dirt road to get there. It's quite a trek. It's a steep incline up a dirt road that you have to walk, you can't drive. And every 2 or 3 steps, I was crying, I was shaking. And I told my friend, "Oh, go ahead, I'll be fine. I'll get up there." And she said, "No, I'm not leaving you." And so I would get another 10 steps and I couldn't move. And I was just crying and I could see the Alps. I could see the great vineyards. And I knew completely it was a whole past life thing that I was going through, and also very sacred ground from the Grotto of Mary Magdalene. There's that divine feminine energy as well as goddess Isis and Hathor. So, and Sekmet and Hatshepsut. So being on those sites, the body holds the cellular memory of our past lives. It's in our DNA, which is produced in our cells. It's in our consciousness, even though we can't remember it. So those things get activated. And it can happen not even just on sacred sites. You could go to the Mississippi and get onto the river and then remember that uh, you have the deja vu. I've been here before. Could be anywhere. Could even be I've had this conversation before. So it it's your soul speaking to you and calling you. And it when you answer that call, there's also a deep healing that happens within you as well, because something may have happened in that past life that you need to either remember or just remember the life so that you can go through that healing process, bring it into your awareness and say, okay, now I'm here. Now what? Now what do I do? So it can just change in so many different ways, but the soul knows. Soul knows.
Oh, no, so I like that. It sounds like a title of a book. The
Mm,
soul,
soul
ah,
knows.
so does. And so what I'm understanding, uh, Sister Friend Margaret, is this isn't just going to be traipsing up and down deserts and going into grottos or climbing down into chambers. This is also going to be a learning experience and a spiritual experience. And I think you plan almost like a mini workshop here and there to give people a chance to acclimate to what's going on, to discuss it,
Yes.
and to immerse themselves into what's really taking place in their own inner souls. Am I correct on understanding that?
Yes, and we have an excellent guide coming with us. I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. Coming with us that uh, can read the hieroglyphics, knows the complete history of uh, not even just the sacred sites. The guides in Egypt actually uh, have to take 4 years of Egyptology. They learn the complete history about the school systems, how they came about. I mean, complete history, and they have to know how to read the hieroglyphics. So any guide that you get can assist with that. Our guide is also on a spiritual path. So they know not only the very specific history that's written in the books, they also are very much aware of the spiritual part of that history that's not written in all of those books. So uh, a very well-rounded experience. And the retreat includes everything, the hotel stays, all the meals. I'm bringing my own Wi-Fi so that we make sure we have Wi-Fi connection so you don't have to pay extra for your phone service. Um, Airfare between Cairo to Luxor and Luxor to Cairo, all the temple fee, all the temple fees, all the tips are also included. So the only thing anyone coming is responsible for is getting to Cairo. That's it. Everything else is included. So, which is not standard. A lot of tours and spiritual tours, they're not as inclusive as this one. So it was really important to me after living there, knowing, how things are, and I just wanted to make things easier um for anyone coming, so knowing that they would be very well prepared.
Mhm. And if anyone has any particular uh, physical or spiritual needs or any special needs, is that something they can discuss with you before they go, even dietary needs?
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. um on my website, it has Egypt 2024 retreat, has all the information there. Also has how you can contact me. It's Margaret Bryant Retreats at gmail.com for any kind of correspondence that you or questions that you have. And everything is right there. Every place that we will go, the complete itinerary, um, the hotels we'll be staying at, uh, requirements on the the tourist or the client's end, visa, passports. Visas are very easy to get to. You can get them as soon as you land in Egypt in the airport, or you can get it online ahead of time. I prefer to get mine ahead of time so that I don't have to stand in line and I know I'm all legal. Once I land, I'm all legal. I don't have to mess around with that. So I could just, go through the doors and things. So, um, but no, it's really pretty simple and pretty easy. And safety, I have never once in over 3 years. Um, the first time I went was in 2019, and then in 2021, September of 2021, I got a flat and started living there 2 or 3 months, 2 or 3 months here. So I go back and forth. And I have never once ever felt unsafe. And I go by myself to the store. I go by myself. I go to the gym. I go, do other things as well by myself. And I have never ever felt unsafe.
I think that's really good for people to know in these times, to have some reassurance that on a normal basis is really quite safe. And they'll be in your company, the guide's company, and everyone else you put into place to make it a very relaxed pleasant and no stress. Now, again, for the accommodations for everything, everything's pretty much covered except the flight to Cairo and back again, which is
Yes.
very, very, very nice to know. Everything's done, food, everything. You just go
Yes.
experience Margaret Bryant Energy Oracle and Egypt all in one. That's beautiful. Is there anything else you'd like to share, Margaret, before we go?
I think the only thing is, if you've got that nudge, follow it. Because I will tell you, when you don't follow the nudge, it gets louder. The nudge gets to be a push. And you really don't want it to be a kick in the behind, a slap in the head. So that's with anything to do with your own intuition. So if you're getting the call, the thought, the feeling to go, go.
Oh,
Make it happen. And you have to trust. I always say a prayer, dear God, if this is what I need to do, this is what you want me to do, please help me make it happen. The money's there, the time off of work is there, all the people are there waiting for me to take care of things. All of those things are put into place, and I trust that. So with anything in your life, when you come to things that you need or want to do or feeling the calling to do, put that trust in the divine and you'll get there. You'll
I love
get there.
That's very cool. Well, thank you, Margaret. We know the tour, it's more than a tour, it's a learning experience as well, and a spiritual
Yes.
experience coming up fairly soon, and it'll be this year. So, and I looked at the cost and it was very minimal compared to what you're getting. So I'm excited.
Yeah. I'm very excited. I'm very excited for everybody who is supposed to be there. For whatever reason, they will be there. And I trust that completely. Completely.
And so do I. Well, thank you, Margaret. Appreciate you
Thank
coming.
you. Thank you for your questions and helping me do this. And I'll see you on the other side. Because we just do that. We just, communicate telepathically and, we do all those things. So, all right. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Much love to everybody that listens. And I hope to see you there.
Hope to see you there.
Thanks.
Follow that guidance. Bye.
Yes.